On a night in 1925 at the Harvard College Observatory, a young woman was carefully studying starlight captured on glass photographic plates. This woman, Cecilia Payne, was on the verge of decoding the language of the stars. In a male-dominated world of science, Cecilia's curiosity and determination were about to unveil one of the universe's greatest secrets. In this documentary-style story, we embark on an emotional and epic journey through Cecilia Payne's life, from her childhood through her battles in science to her groundbreaking discovery that changed the course of astronomy. Cecilia Helena Payne was born on May 10, 1900 in Wendover, England. Her father, Edward Payne, died when Cecilia was just 4 years old, leaving her mother to raise 3 children alone. An intellectual herself, her mother nurtured Cecilia's love for literature, music, and nature. Cecilia's passion for science emerged at a young age. Although her early school offered no science classes, she often sneaked into the chemistry lab, admiring the elements in awe. In 1918, she enrolled at St. Paul's Girls' School in London, where she could finally study science seriously. Excelling as a student, she won a scholarship to Newnham College at Cambridge University in 1919. At Cambridge, she gravitated toward physics and astronomy. Her life changed when she attended a public lecture by Sir Arthur Eddington, describing the results of the 1919 solar eclipse expedition that confirmed Einstein's theory of general relativity. So deeply moved, she memorized every word of the lecture and couldn't sleep for 3 nights. When she approached Eddington afterwards, declaring her desire to become an astronomer, he smiled and said, "I see no insurmountable obstacle," a phrase that would empower her throughout her career. At the beginning of the 20th century, science, and especially astronomy, was a tough field for women. At Cambridge, women were not awarded degrees even if they completed all coursework. Male students protested women's demands for equality, even going so far as to attack the women's colleges with battering rams. Cecilia, often the only woman in her classes, endured ridicule. In Ernest Rutherford's lectures, he would deliberately greet the class with "ladies and gentlemen," staring at her while the male students burst into laughter. Denied a degree, Cecilia set her sights on America. She met Harlow Shapley, director of the Harvard College Observatory, who invited her to continue her studies there. In 1923, she traveled to the US and enrolled at Radcliffe College, Harvard's sister institution for women. Harvard was already home to women astronomers like Annie Jump Cannon and Henrietta Swan Leavitt, but they were often confined to subordinate roles. Cecilia stepped into this environment determined to break through the glass ceiling. At Harvard, Cecilia began her doctoral thesis, analyzing stellar spectra to determine the elements present in stars. Until then, it was widely believed that stars shared a similar composition with Earth, rich in iron, silicon, and carbon. However, Cecilia discovered that stars were primarily composed of hydrogen and helium. This revolutionary finding shook the scientific world. In 1925, she completed her thesis, which would later be described as the most brilliant PhD thesis ever written in astronomy by Otto Struve. Yet, leading astrophysicist Henry Norris Russell advised her against asserting her conclusions too strongly. Pressured by authority figures, Cecilia softened her claims in the published version of her thesis. A few years later, Russell published similar findings himself, and for a long time, history credited him instead of Cecilia. After her doctorate, Cecilia remained at Harvard, but only with the modest title of technical assistant and a low salary. She struggled financially, even pawning personal belongings to make ends meet. Despite lecturing for years, she was not officially recognized by Harvard due to the university's reluctance to hire women faculty. In 1956, Cecilia finally broke through. She became a full professor and the first woman to head a department at Harvard. In her personal life, she found happiness as well. During a trip to Europe in 1933, she met Sergei Gaposchkin, a Russian astronomer. They married and became a powerful scientific duo, studying variable stars and recording millions of observations. Cecilia Payne's greatest legacy is her discovery of the chemical composition of stars. Thanks to her work, we now know that hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. Over time, the scientific community came to recognize her contributions. In 1976, she received the prestigious Henry Norris Russell Prize from the American Astronomical Society, a fitting irony considering the history. Cecilia Payne's story remains a powerful testament to perseverance, passion, and courage. She decoded the secrets of the stars, and though she faced resistance and obscurity, her light continues to shine brightly. Her legacy inspires anyone who dares to look up at the sky and wonder.